Senator John McCAIN. Good morning, Senator McCAIN.
Good morning, Don. And from your earlier report, maybe there's hope for me and Bernard on this baldness issue, huh?
Well, I don't think you ever had any trouble, have you?
Well, it's a little, little sparse there. Not like Bernard, of course, but anyway.
A lot of the women's love Bernard, you know.
I know. He's a superstar. I see him on Hannity all the time too.
So how are you? How are you?
I'm doing fine. Very interesting day yesterday, and obviously the shift in power is always something to behold around here, and the great expectations, and sometimes they hit reality, and we're not as able to accomplish a lot of things that we had wanted to, but I have some great hope for this House of Representatives and also my new colleagues in the Senate.
What's at the top of your list you're hoping for?
Oh, I think obviously the jobs and the economy, but part of the economy thing is we have got to get the spending under control. And you've seen all those charts of the trillions and trillions of dollars that we have already put into the red. And the most disturbing part of it is that there's no end in sight. And so obviously we've got to get the spending under control, and we've got to we've got to give the president a version of the line item veto. We call it enhanced rescissions. We have to obviously make some changes in defense. I'm about to go to a meeting this morning with Secretary Gates where he's going to propose some cuts on some programs, and I think some of them are warranted. One of the great scandals around here is the cost overruns associated with our weapons acquisitions, whether it be ships or planes or any other defense spending. It's really disgraceful. This new airplane, the F-35, now costs double of what it was originally planned. We have programs that we've spent billions of dollars on and then scrap. Secretary of Defense is going to recommend today to do away with a Marine program, a landing vehicle that we've already spent $8 billion on. That'll just go down the drain. So
what's the pork and the earlobes? What do you call them? Earmarks that you guys...
Well, there's the earmarks and the pork barreling, which is really terrible. And a lot of it is in defense because that's where the money is. It's the Willie Sutton syndrome. They get the money out of defense. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars that are money out of defense is spent that has nothing to do with defense. But then there's also this problem that I just described to you, the new fighter aircraft, the F-35s, a couple of years behind, already double the original cost per plane from some 40 million each to 90-some million, and it doesn't end. And so that's an area that I'm going to be spending a lot of time on. But we've got to get the spending under control, and we got to make tough decisions, and that's what the people want us to do. And I hope we can take on the special interests around here that don't want a lot of that to happen.
Talking with Senator John McCAIN here in the IMUS Morning Program. It's 21 minutes till they are. I was talking with Tom Friedman, New York Times, the other day, and I realized, the dude's about a half a commie. But I like him. And he's not always right. He's probably seldom right. But sometimes he is right, I think. And here's what he said. Pardon me?
Go ahead.
Here's what he said. In order to get this country back on track, he thinks almost solely we have to focus on educating this generation of people, or we're going to be left behind by the other countries in the world, China, Japan, these other. Is he right about that?
Oh, yeah. He's been right about it for a long, long time. Obviously, we need to devote a lot of effort to education in this country. We're going to have to take on the teachers' unions. We're going to have to give more choice to parents and families. And we obviously need to be able to judge the performance of both students and teachers. And I admire Mr. Friedman. I would point out that he was dead wrong about Iraq, said we couldn't win, said we had to get out. And sometimes it might be nice to hear people like Mr. Friedman, who were wrong about Iraq and are now wrong about Afghanistan, admit that they were wrong. But sometimes it's hard for me to do. Sometimes it's hard for me to do, too.
Yeah, of course. Come on here. Don't be hating on Friedman. We're just trying to help the boys. He's on a 4-month book leave now. This is unbelievable. He's on a 4-month book leave from the New York Times, and he only writes 2 columns a week and only 750 words. And to write a book, and he's not even writing a book himself. He got some other guy to help him. So.
Well, his columns are widely read. He's highly regarded. He's been very good for a long period of time on energy issues, and a lot of the things he has to say about how we could eliminate our dependency on foreign oil, and a lot of those things he's been very good on. And by the way, when you see the price of oil now going up over $90 a barrel, my friend, the implications of that are quite extraordinary to the average citizen.
You like old Boehner?
Pardon me?
You like the old...
Oh, yeah, I like him very much.
Oh, you do?
I've liked him for years. He's a down-to-earth guy. He's blue-collar family. I noticed yesterday that he conducted himself with modesty. There was not a lot of, victory laps taken. Obviously, Republicans are happy, but I think when you compare it to 94 when we took over and there was a great deal of hubris and we were going to change everything in Washington, I think his ambitions are less, but his ability to, I think, to affect real change are very strong. I think he's handled himself extremely well.
You know, I'm not the brightest guy in the world, but I'm also not a moron. But every time I hear somebody use the word irony or hubris, I always wonder what they mean. I mean, I know what they mean, but I don't know.
Well, let me give you an example.
Right.
When Republicans came to the majority in 1994, they believed that they would be governing from the House and from the Senate.
Oh, I remember.
And when the fact is that the president governs. Now, we are co-equal branches of government, but they thought that they could run Newt Gingrich, who I admire a great deal, he and his gang thought that they could just run the government and set policies, where this incoming majority in the House, I think they have much more modest ambitions, but much more specific ambitions. Repeal Obamacare, get the spending under control, reform the tax code, a number of other, I think, achievable goals. And I think it was hubris that brought down Newt Gingrich and the Republicans back in the 90s. And I think Boehner's learned from that.
He seems like he'd be a long day, you know. Oh, man.
Like John Boehner is from a working class family.
No, I don't mean Boehner. I mean Gingrich.
Well, Newt is a brilliant man.
Boehner's got to stop crying. Come on.
He's got to stop crying. I agree
dude's
with
got to
that.
stop crying. I mean, come on here. Well, they passed Senator McCain. They passed, I know you opposed this, but they passed Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yep.
What do you think now?
Well, I think I've got to do everything I can to make sure that it has the impact on morale and retention and recruitment and battle effectiveness of the military is minimized as much as possible. That it's a law, and I've got to do whatever I can to help the men and women who are serving, particularly in combat, cope with this new situation, and I'll do everything I can to make it work.
You said before when talking about trying to get, when you were hating on Friedman, trying to get him to apologize for being wrong about Iraq, which, in my view, he wasn't wrong. But anyway, what are you saying about Afghanistan now? Are you trying to tell me what?
I think it's very tough. I think the biggest problems we have, obviously, are the corruption throughout the government and throughout Afghanistan, the sanctuary in Pakistan, and also an uncertain trumpet. The vice president and the president keep talking about leaving. You leave after you have succeeded, just the way we left Iraq, which, by the way, they are taking credit for. That's really entertaining. But that's we cannot afford to have Afghanistan return to being a base for attacks on the United States of America and our allies. The people don't want the Taliban back. The overwhelming majority of them don't want it. We are succeeding in areas in southern Afghanistan at great cost, and General Petraeus is still the finest military leader that I have ever had the honor of being around. I have never met a combination of charismatic leadership and intellect that General Petraeus has.
We're talking with Senator John McCAIN here in the Irish Civil War program, considering what a whack job you were when you were you in the Naval Academy or West Point? I forget. Naval Academy.
Naval Academy, yes. I didn't get the most demerits of anybody who went there, but I was in the top 10.
The original loose cannon, who turned out pretty well, by the way. What do you make of the firing of this guy from the USS Enterprise?
I feel badly, but the Naval Academy, the Navy made the right decision.
They did?
Yeah, because like you just can't do those kinds of things. And
Well, you did.
Yeah, but I wasn't the commanding officer of an aircraft carrier. Of course, I misbehaved at
Of course,
the
you didn't
Academy,
film it either, but
what's happened here is he stepped over the line trying to help the morale of his troops, and he made serious errors, and the Navy made the right decision. I do thank him for his service to the Navy and the country, and I appreciate that, but the Navy made the right decision.
I had your daughter on again, by the way, man. She was on with my wife and Lise Wheel. Man, I'm such a fan of hers. It's ridiculous. So.
Well, I just wish to thank you for your real courtesy to Megan, and I'm very proud of her, and I think she's got a bright future. And by the way, my son Jack, the end of January I'm going to go down to Pensacola. He's going to get his Navy Wings of Gold, which will be a wonderful thing to happen. And my son Jimmy just got out of the Marine Corps just a couple of months ago, and he's going to go to college and maybe go back in the Marine Corps.
Is your son going to fly?
Yeah, he's getting his wings. My son Jack is getting his wings.
So if he can fly better than you did.
I hope so too.
Oh my God!
All right, man. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you,
Senator John McCAIN here in the Arizona program.